Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot coming at you with the Weekly Comic Book Roundup. We've got quite the haul this week, actually, so let's get started. Kicking things up, we've got Immortal X-Men number 9. So we've just wrapped up. I think we've just wrapped up all of the. We took a break from having any issue that tied into an event for 1 month. 1 month was all we got. Because this is setting the stage for the next major X-Men event that doesn't involve Spider-Man. Sins of Sinister. So, it was established in the first issue of the series that Sinister has made clones of Moira. The basic idea being if his schemes start to fall apart, he downloads the what happened into Moira and into a Moira clone, activates her X gene, and then kills her, restarting the timeline. So this is actually. I think this issue is kind of supposed to focus on Kate, but yeah, it's set up for Sins of Sinister, plain and simple. Basically, though, kind of a celebratory meeting of the Quiet Council. Shaw's day drinking, and then. Oh, and Kate gets up in Exodus's face as Exodus is still not happy about the fact that they resurrected Captain America. But Hope even is like, hey, it was a good thing, and it's hard for Exodus to argue with Hope. Then Sinister shows up, goes to kill Destiny, and gets exploded by Exodus. And so we start over again. No, actually, first we have a bit of a flashback. Sinister and Exodus talking. And he opts to wait on killing a clone before. But we're going to. Basically what happened in the Funis before things from the point of view of Sinister. Apparently he tries this on multiple times over. Usually ending with his head getting splattered. He shows up at one point with a gun that would make Cable would shame Cable, killing Exodus and Hope. He had a giant octopus monster with eyeballs and the tentacles that was firing optic blasts. Got his eyes gouged out at one point by Emma Frost in her diamond form. Also turns out that the Dark Beast still lives as a head in one of Sinister's various vats. But basically he's trying to figure out just what to do, and tries various, including a mass of cloned Xavier brains to take out all the telepaths. Syncing up the combined powers of Gambit and Harry Leland, rather injecting them into Exodus. For those Gambit, it's explained that Remy turns mass into energy, and Harry Leland increases mass. Take both gifts, mix them up in a murderous communion wafer, and Exodus's head blows up. And Hope is no longer invulnerable. Hope is destroyed. And the issue ends with half the council dead, and the other half being led to go after Sinister by Kate, who claims to know what's going on. And as simplistic as I was, you know what? This is probably, I'm just gonna keep saying it. Immortal X-Men is one of the two best X-Men books being put out right now, and the other one is also coming out this week. So yeah. Moving on to our next book, we got Marauders number 9. Where we left off, the Marauders had gone into the past to save Threshold. As it turns out, Threshold was actually on past Earth. Dakin was taken over by the forces of one of the viral overlords. But there's also a third enemy at bay who Night Font. So the Marauders take on Dakin, Fang. They manage to Somnus gets into Akihiro's mind, tells him what's going on, and he's sent away. Seemingly, Kate is destroyed as well. So the Marauders and their allies from Threshold make a tactical retreat, finding the resistance. They go over their plans with the Marauders. Also, a mass of the 3 from Threshold, a mass was also taken. But Bishop has a plan. Eat a boost fruit and absorb the cellular energy that's in the water where our bacterial villains are. A mass, however, turns out is in the clutches of Nightfont, who's revealed to be none other than Strife. Bad Penny, man. Bad friggin' Penny. This is definitely interesting. Things are going very interestingly. I will admit I had my doubts about Steve Orlando taking over Marauders. I think Gary Dugan's run was top tier, and I would have loved to see him continue with the book, but Orlando's winning me over. I still prefer Dugan's run, but this is a solid successor. Moving on to our next book, we've got New Mutants number 32. Where we left off, Wolfsbane and Cerebellum were, as well as some of the other New Mutants, including Escapade, had been taken prisoner by the U-Men. And John Sublime had in fact taken Cerebellum, formerly known as No Girl, a previous victim of the U-Men, prisoner in order to revert her back to being a brain in a floating jar. However, Escapade managed to take over one of the U-Men and is basically doing what she can to muck about with sabotage things with the U-Men. And she finds Cerebellum. The U-Men that Escapade switched with is having a bit of a crisis, babbling about things, though the New Mutants can really care less and basically tell him to shut up. Cerebellum suggests that the only way to save her on it really is to kill her. But well, Escapade doesn't want to do that. Cerebella, not Bella, but Sublime comes in and opts to start on the process of returning Cerebella to her floating brain bowl, but Escapade switches with her and manages to save everyone. Turns out the U-Men have their own crypto coin, because of course those losers do. And then everything where the initial switch wears off for Escapade. Her best friend helps clean her up, but the Unions are trying to get through. Among the sabotage that's been committed by Escapade is sabotage of the firing mechanisms on the U-Men's guns, so makes it a little easier. Makes them a little easier to deal with. We learn that the U-Men are making a new version of Kick, which will render any mutant fully compliant without any annoying feral stage. And as Escapade and her best friend are trying to escape, they make it to the roof, presumably in the hopes of getting a telepathic message out, when Escapade realizes that this is the day that her best friend, in the vision, Destiny's vision that Escapade saw, this is the day that her best friend dies, and she's able to save him. And that is where the issue ends. Well, that was... I'm liking this. I'm digging this art. Escapade was apparently introduced in one of the Marvel Voices one-shots recently. I think the Pride one-shot. I didn't read that, but I'm digging the character. Fun concept, fun power. So, moving on to our next book, we've got X-Force number 35. Where we left off, Severe Blakemore had been brought to Beast's black site in space, which was being guarded by Maverick and the Mercs. However, Solomon infiltrated the Mercs and was helping Blakemore escape. And we also learned that Beast is conducting experiments on his prisoners. I wouldn't call them ethically questionable experiments. I would simply say unethical. And yeah. But Blakemore and Solomon engineer a breakout, which yeah, it just goes further and further sideways. Also, last issue, Domino returned from a mission gravely injured, while Sage was absolutely shit-faced. Sage was able to find her at the gate, but Domino was unconscious. So, we meet with Domino and Sage at the Healing Gardens, and Sage is, of course, quite apologetic because she was drunk. Domino didn't, who knows how long Domino was unconscious outside the gate, or right in front of the gate, before Sage found her. Beast takes one of the prisoners and turns him into a monster to turn against Blakemore and Solomon. And they're trying to figure out where, but the team's trying to figure out where Beast is. He used an unregistered gate, and so Omega Red uses the upgrade to his tentacles to find this unregistered gate. A secret room of Beasts in the point. And then there's another secret room where Feral Wolverine is being kept. The Mercs are... Maverick orders a retrieve of the Mercs and basically tells Beast that they quit. And even with Beast saying, hey, I'll double your rate, triple, whatever, name your price. Maverick's like, yeah, no, there's not enough for that. We also get a brief prisoner intake log, and oh boy. Now, first off, the acquisition agents are also Maverick and the Mercs. But we've got, for the various crimes, attempted assassination of Brand. Honestly, they should probably be given a medal and told to try harder. But, you know. Another one for Krakoan Gate vandalism and destruction. A robot made of Roxxon parts, unknown manufacturer. A Spanish man who apparently murdered 39 mutants. Maybe he shouldn't be on a black site, but he should definitely be. He should be dealt with in a legally recognized legal manner. We have a Mord, who's a Badoon who was transporting explosive crystals and refused to cooperate when questioned. An Iraqi who obstructed gate. A Zakari who biohacked Krakoan intelligence, and a Kotadi who was counterfeiting Mysterium. But Omega Red and Domino suit up in spacesuits to go and see what's on the other side of this gate. Sage tosses her bottle of booze. Omega Red and Domino discover the scene, and while Blakemore is dealing with the creature that Beast unleashed. The Beast manages to make it through the gate that Blakemore found and back to Krakoa, where, as does Solom, but the creature goes to attack Sage. Omega Red and Domino find Beast. Sage uses a swig from her bottle of booze, as well as a will-o'-the-wisp from Black Tom, to ignite the creature. And Beast is returned to Krakoa in handcuffs. After igniting the creature also, Sage shatters the bottle of whiskey, being done with it. And that is where the issue ends. Yeah, Beast kind of became like definitely one of the greatest, has definitely become one of the greatest villains of in the X-Men corner of things. However, our next book will definitely feature one of the other great villains. But yeah, good issue. I hope that the Wolverine segment portion of that arc is resolved quickly. I kind of feel like all we got was a cameo of him in this issue, so even then, just as kind of a hinting that he's in one of these secret rooms that Beast has. But moving on to our next book, we've got X-Men Red number 9. Where we left off, Brand was instituting an attempt at turning two of Earth's cosmic allies against one another, the Shi'ar and the Kree-Skrull Alliance. And while the current, while Zandra Xavier is more than happy to try and make amends for find ways to through diplomacy make amends for what I think Ken did. I think that the Skrull massacre that Pybok recounted would have been committed during Ken's reign as Emperor. But that Zondra's plan is diplomacy. However, Brand doesn't want diplomacy. She wants war. And so, she sends someone who's going to go after both sides, for a minute at least. Vulcan, the former Shi'ar Emperor. Meanwhile, Cable, having learned of Brand's plan, has organized a team to go after Orbis Stellaris. They've reached his base of operations. Based and infiltrated. There's some notes about Vulcan and his make him, the idea being make him less erratic in his resurrection. We actually see part of this. Apparently, Xavier, Charles, and Xavier, as well as Cyclops and Havoc, were there for Gabriel's resurrection. Well, he didn't smash out of the egg like most people do. He burned through it. We also learned that apparently when Scott gets resurrected, he first have Emma be the one that does it. Alex says he's not going to even try to unpack that, and hey, I'm not either. But basically, Gabriel does what he can to basically he's draining Nova Force power from Nova. Later, he also drains the energy that powers Gladiator. Nova's able to recoup and makes an attack on him. Oh, eventually. Metallo and Brand are watching. Pybok gets his arm shot off by Vulcan. At the World Farm, the ship that WizKid made is snagged by some of the orbital guards, while Cable and his team go after Orbis Stellaris. Stellaris lets loose his progenitor clones, though, who decide to do a living dissection on Manifold. But Deathbird tries to talk to her estranged husband, Gabriel, but Vulcan decides instead to just straight up try and kill Zandra. However, it's not Zandra that's been sitting there in the Shi'ar throne. It's Sunspot with a Shi'ar image inducer. We get Sunspot's plan. So Brand is planning something. She didn't invite him, so it's probably not fun. He should probably plan his own something. Phase 1, checks his reflection. Still looking good. Phase 2, work out Brand's next move. Wants to expand Soul's influence and her own power. She made Soul stronger, but she's run out of gifts to give. So now what? Now she makes someone else weak. Phase 3, what would Sunspot do? Evil version. Start a nice little Star War. Set two of Soul's biggest allies against each other and play mediator. Who fights who? The Shi'ar Empire is very fragile right now. Zandra's ready to transition to a Commonwealth. Not good for Soul. We'd be one small system competing among hundreds. So, start the war by taking her out. Phase 4, what does he do? Non-evil. Vital hot tub at 3, just pull something out of the files. Fake his death and jump out of his own coffin, not feeling it. Red Lagoon was a giant robot all along, construction isn't finished. Empress is me and an image inducer, boom. Phase 5, hot tub. No secrets in a hot tub. But Sunspot and Vulcan are fairly evenly matched as both absorb solar energy. And well, Sunspot states, why does he need to absorb it from the sun when, Vulcan's right there just emanating it? And Vulcan then goes after Storm. And that is where the issue ends. Oh boy, things are heating up. Did I mention that the two best X-Men books that are currently being published were both put out this week? Yeah. This is the other one. Al Ewing just knocks it out of the damn park every time. Moving on to our last book for the moment, we've got X-Treme X-Men #1. So, alright. I did not read X-Treme X-Men. X-Treme X-Men as a series ran for about a little under 4 years, at a period when I was not actively reading comics. I know very little about what happened in the book. I know that by the end of the X-Men became, at least this particular team became a team of global marshals, but yeah. It was more street level type X-Men stuff than, or I guess more street level, or even was go as far as say traditional. But so anyway, at this one time, Kate Pride, Red Queen of the Hellfire Corporation Trading Corp, Captain of the Marauder, was still going by Kitty, so we will be referring to her as such. So Kitty walks into the bar she works at, Bells of Hell, and she sees Ogun, her and Wolverine's former acquaintance of her and of Wolverine's, having killed practically all of the X-Men, including Wolverine. She fights Ogun. Apparently, Ogun has been hiding in her soul. Wolverine killed Ogun back in the end of the Wolverine and Shadowcat miniseries. But it turns out it's all a dream. And seemingly in the dream, Kitty defeats him. But she's woken up by her roommate and best friend, Rachel Phoenix, at that point in time. And apparently Rachel called in the rest of the team. Kitty explains what's happening. Wolverine's like, okay, well, I've got Ogun sent. I'll find him. And a plan is vaguely worked out. We also got a rundown of the Wolverine and Shadowcat miniseries. And everyone just kind of, Wolverine and Phoenix are the hunters for this mission, for this op. It's also explained that there's a anti-mutant group known as Purity that's supposed to be having a giant rally outside of Bells of Hell later on. But as they are global marshals, they have to be a little. They can't just run in and start, knocking people's teeth out. Ogun, meanwhile, claims that he's somewhere between the astral plane and the physical realm. And that is where the issue ends. Interesting stuff. It feels like older Chris Claremont's X-Men. Claremont himself returned. This is X-Treme X-Men was part of his return, and his return run is X-Treme X-Men is generally regarded as the best part of it. So, and I can see why. Also, it should be noted that Salvador Larroca's art seems to actually be much better here than it was when he was working on Alien. But anyway, that is going to do it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off saying, live long and rock hard.